Most of my research has been looking at salt tolerance of forages and halophytes, particularly for saline drainage water reuse systems, but I'd say more recently just looking at, because we're water short in California, we will have to use alternative waters like saline waters for irrigation. So also soil management under saline conditions. And these are just some of the forages and some of the salinity issues that you might see. So more recently we worked with alfalfa. Why alfalfa? Well, it is the nation's fourth most economic crop, and it is the forage of choice for California's dairy industry. And so alfalfa has always been considered moderately sensitive to salinity, but it has a very low, what we call yield loss threshold. But we're looking at it and seeing if it can be profitably grown using saline irrigation waters, and asking the question, does alfalfa have a higher level of salinity tolerance than previously thought? Because there's been new varieties released, and they have been improved for salt tolerance. So one project is out at Westside Field Station. This is with colleagues from the University of California, Davis, Dan Putnam, Steve Groton, and Bob Hutmacher. And also this collaboration has provided opportunities for our graduate students to work at the UC Research and Experiment Center there. So to irrigate alfalfa with saline water, here's the high salinity check and the low salinity check. We need large volumes of water, so we store some of that water in this reservoir that you see here. We add salt. Obviously, we have to monitor the salinity of the irrigation water, and it's a salinity that's representative of the Westside San Joaquin Valley. Some of the work here, water sampling. Look at the composition of the water we're applying. Here you see the small plot harvester, and then separate sampling for ion analysis, sodium, and then a lot of tough soil sampling. And so then we also have to look at the spatial distribution of the salinity that we apply, particularly for a small plot variety trial. We're comparing 20 different varieties. We have to make sure that that salinity and the water is uniformly applied in the field. So we do some spatial analysis. And just from this project, and I'm only going to be talking about 2 of about 4 projects, but this one with the alfalfa, we have indeed found that the new varieties are much more salt tolerant than previously thought. So irrigating with some very saline water, about 9.5 decisiemens per meter over 2 years, and soil salinities reaching quite high, we have about 88% relative yield. Another way to say that, we only found about a 12% yield penalty growing these at quite high salinity. So it seems that alfalfa is much more higher or salt tolerant than previous studies suggested, and yield reductions may occur more at 6 to 8 decisiemens per meter ECE, which is a measure of soil salinity, rather than at the published threshold value of 2. But what we observed is that we irrigate with saline sodic waters, so some of the effect on soil properties due to the sodicity, things like crusting, infiltration, grate. It might be that really, if you irrigate with these waters, some of the management issues to offset some of the deterioration in soil quality might be just as important, managing those, and it's not just the salinity tolerance of the forage. Okay, another project which is at, I'm missing a picture up there at the left, but it's in the SJ RIV, which is the San Joaquin River Improvement Project. It's a 6,000 acre saline drainage water reuse area that is, I can't see that, 1 minute? Yeah, okay. Is in the Panoche Water District, and it reuses the saline drainage water as a way of reducing discharge of salt, selenium, and boron to the San Joaquin River. So Aminder Singh is one of our graduate students. He's worked hard on this, and Alan is here. He's an exchange student from Brazil, and they're just out there sampling this week. So our contribution is to conduct some EM38 soil surveys. Florence has helped us out on this, and to provide calibration data sets for this computer model, which I forgot to mention, the CSU ID2, which was developed at Colorado State University, and we're adapting it for as a decision support tool to allow the district to estimate leaching fractions and essentially maintain the sustainability of this forage production. And so we generate these spatial maps. This is showing you differences in soil salinity with depth. You can see it also across the season. Get an idea of how much salinity may be increasing due to the application of saline waters. This is the interface of the model. Dr. Nigel Quinn from UC Berkeley is the person behind the model. We're providing the calibration data sets. And then what's next? I've never worked with tree crops, but with Garit Brar and Gary Banuelos, who's back there, we'll be looking at saving irrigation of pistachio, the long-term sustainability of that, and possibly looking at the yield loss threshold value and seeing how appropriate that is. So it's not that. Oh, I should mention in terms of equipment, we have a Agilent MP AES, atomic emission spectrophotometer, up on the third floor in the instrumentation room, and we'll be using it for analysis of sodium, calcium, mostly sodium and potassium, but it can do other elements. And so